Dear Dr. Adil Garg, Mr. Anil Razdam, and distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, this is Nobuo Tanaka. It's a great honor for me to be invited to the World Renewable Energy Technology Congress and discuss about the future of hydrogen. When I was executive director of the International Energy Agency, the IEA announced that a golden age of natural gas was coming. It was 2011, and the shale gas revolution was advancing in North America. Japan contributed to the golden age by introducing LNG trade from Alaska 50 years ago. Russian pipeline certainly supported sustainable economic development of Europe until February 24th this year. Dr. Fatih Birol, the IEA executive director, recently said that we are in the middle of the first global energy crisis, thanks to the Russian invasion to Ukraine. In the 70s, it was the oil crisis, and now we have an oil crisis, a natural gas crisis, a coal crisis, an electricity crisis. All prices are skyrocketing, and energy security is a priority for all governments. The IEA was established in the first oil shock of 1974. Dr. Henry Kissinger, the founding father of the organization, said consuming countries were totally unprepared to the oil embargo by the OPEC. The exact opposite happened about a year ago when the IEA published the analysis called Net Zero by 2050. Oil-producing countries and companies were panicked when they heard Fatih Birol said that energy groups must stop all new oil and gas exploration projects from this year. I call it the first IEA shock. Net zero by 2050 tells us if the world should achieve carbon neutral by 2050, the peak demand of oil could have happened already in 2019, and for natural gas, it would happen by the middle of 2020s. I suspect that President Putin of Russia may have decided to invade Ukraine before the peak demand of oil and gas would happen. The current global energy crisis will eventually balance back quickly because fuels are fungible and high prices will induce new investments. But pipelined gas from Russia may take longer time to find alternative uses by constructing new pipelines or LNG facilities. But the climate shock would be much, much more profound and disastrous than the global fossil fuel shock if we aren't well prepared. Nobody can stop this transformation happening, and there are winners and losers. Russia seems to me least prepared for this climate shock. Western sanctions on technology, self-withdrawal of investment, expanding military expenditures, and increasing brain drain may hurt its ability to adapt. Europe is accelerating the decarbonization, facing the energy war with Russia. Clean hydrogen will play a key role for the decarbonization of Europe and its energy security. The United States gains temporarily by higher oil and gas prices for exporting them. Recently, the US Congress enacted the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022, a new bill that contains significant provisions to enhance the transformation by CCS, EVs, and nuclear power. The US transformation is also driven by the megatech companies who plan to decarbonize their whole supply chain earlier by 2030. China aims to be a renewable energy and technologies superpower. Saudi Arabia plans to generate green and blue hydrogen to avoid stranded acetization of its oil. India's announcement that it aims to reach net zero emission by 2070 and to meet 50% of its electricity requirements from renewable energy source by 2030 is a hugely significant moment for the global fight against climate change. Renewable electricity is growing at a faster rate in India than any other major economy. India is pioneering a new model of economic development that could avoid the carbon-intensive approaches, which will be a for many emerging countries. Clean hydrogen, blue or green, will probably be the common solution for energy transformation of many emerging economies and hard-to-abate industrial sectors, because it may provide a gradual decarbonization using current infrastructures. Co-firing of clean ammonia at coal thermal power plant is what JERA, a joint venture of TEPCO and Chubu Electric, is promoting and can be a model for Asian economies. There is an imminent risk of Russian pipeline gas shutdown toward the end of the year, and Germany may change their policy to phase out coal and nuclear power. German green hydrogen or ammonia is urgently needed to co-fire at German coal power plants. Japan started promoting hydrogen economy a decade ago when Toyota introduced passenger fuel cell vehicle Mirai. But FCV must be deployed as commercial fleets like taxis, vans, trucks, or buses, rather than the stylish passenger vehicle to create assured demand for investment. Meanwhile, Europe and China are accelerating the decarbonization with many new projects on green hydrogen. I have to admit that Japan was overtaken by Europe and China as global leaders of hydrogen. Japan always needs a shock to change. Former Prime Minister Suga made a Suga shock in the fall of 2020 when he abruptly announced that Japan will become carbon neutral by 2050. After a month from this announcement, METI publicized the Green Energy Path to 2050 and the Green Growth Industrial Strategy focusing on the use of green hydrogen by offering 2 million yen Green Innovation Fund. This initiative identified 14 industrial sectors to accelerate the decarbonization by extending the hydrogen deployment from a transportation sector to larger industrial sectors. Facing this first global energy crisis, Prime Minister Kishida just recently and finally announced that 9 nuclear reactors will be in operation to the end of the year to offset possible cut of LNG import from Russia. Another big change is likely to happen under Kishida's leadership. It is the formal introduction of carbon pricing in Japan. METI and Keidanren, Japanese Industrial Federation, have been fiercely opposing the carbon pricing, while Ministry of Environment is pushing a carbon tax. It seems to me that hybrid of carbon tax and carbon pricing through emission trading will be officially decided to happen in Japan. Carbon price is definitely needed to provide a clear signal for clean hydrogen economy. This will be an epoch-making change, indicating that Japanese government finally gets serious about decarbonization by 2050. I am now more convinced that a golden age of hydrogen is really coming. Thank you very much.